Hey everyone, I'm Nick, and we're MV Board Gaming. Today we're looking at Carpe Diem. I believe this is the third print run of this game, so it's the newest one. It is published by Aaliyah and designed by Stefan Feld. It's a 2 to 4 player game. Vic's going to walk us through, and we'll be back with our review.
All right, we are set up here for a 2-player game of Carpe Diem. In this game, you are trying to get the most of these victory points, these cards here. And you'll do that by building buildings on your map here. You'll want to comply with the frame around it, which I'll explain in a bit, but they're randomly assigned at the beginning of the game to players. And you put it around your little grid here. And you will also want to satisfy the forum phase, which is after the building phase. You'll get points for achieving certain items or having the items to trade for victory points. And at the end of the game, you'll of course get scoring for fountain cards, the things that you've achieved in that. But to start the game, we'll go through the building phase where you are moving around your patrician, the token that's in your color, and you are going around this action selection kind of rotunda looking thing, and you have to move adjacent to pick a building. So the whole thing that you're trying to do is you want to be able to get these things by the time all these buildings are gone, so that you can score victory points or achieve these little bonuses at the bottom of the card. So you need to have what's at the top of the card in order to get the bottom rewards of these forum things. So in the building phase, you players take turns. This player here, the red one, has the starting player token, and they start off with 1 less victory point, so they get 8. And the green player has 9. Reason being is you can actually lose points in the forum phase if you don't satisfy the requirements. So that's why you start with more, because you might lose some. So in any case, the building phase begins by taking your player, putting it anywhere you like, any building that suits your fancy. Now, you'll want to pay attention to the frames that are around the sides of your board, because they will score you points if you can get that type of building intersecting in the line that runs between them. So for this red one here, I'm going to want to have, so I'll just show it closer to the camera. The red one here in my frame, I'm going to want to have my building tiles go in between them. So you'll see the grid should run where an imaginary line would be. And these just snap together on the outside of your grid there. And so that's sort of going to help you decide, but that's not the only thing you have to think of. You'll have to think of the stuff you'll get from the buildings, and that's all printed on this handy reference sheet. If you know me, I love a good reference sheet. And this here will tell you that if you build, a gray building, you'll get the prestige, which is at the top here. This determines actually who gets to select first in the forum phase. So you want to move up in that prestige bar by getting these little scrolls. And the scrolls are achieved by either putting a building on where you see these little tokens on your board, or by building gray buildings. You'll get bread from the brown buildings. You'll get to sell items if you complete a gold building. And by complete, I mean they have 2 ends, so you finish them out. And you'll get a coin, plus you can trade goods that you have, like chicken, grape, fish, and plants. And you get coins for each one. The green building lets you select any of these building tiles down here. They're known as black tiles. They are good end pieces that'll help you finish out what you need. And these solo bakeries get you one bread as opposed to this one gives you 2. And a fountain card lets you draw between 2. And these are for end game scoring, as I mentioned earlier. You'll get to pick between, so you draft and you pick one and put the other one at the bottom or discard it. And you'll choose depending on what strategy. So again, another thing that'll help you decide how you want to proceed in the game is, do you want to go for water to get fish or go for bakeries to get bread? And you'll keep one of those, and then the other one would go back into the pile there. So that's if you did the fountain, these little guys here. And the markets get you just a straight up coin. And you can see that if you do these little farmlands, you're going to get a chicken. You do a pond, you get a fish. A vineyard, you get grape or wine. And a forest, you're going to get a leaf one. And like I mentioned, these little tokens here will move up on the prestige track. And we'll talk about the bread in a moment when we get to the forum phase. But it does have an important role in both the building and the forum phase, because in the building phase, you can actually pay a bread to stay where you are instead of moving to an adjacent space for a building. Or you can move to any tile, any blue space, and select a building by paying 1 bread. So that's the merit of getting a bread. So in any case, this red player would go out and would grab a tile, and the first tile that you place has to be on the shovel depicted on your map. And you'll see that they're in different places depending on how the board is set up for that player. So go ahead and you'd start there. And when you build things, they need to actually continue on the spaces that you put. So either it has to be the same terrain type, or the grass needs to match. So that's the corners or the surroundings of the thing you've already put down. So you could never have, for instance, moved here and then put this here, because these two here don't go together. As you can see, you can't do that. So you'd have to make it like this. So that's sort of the placement rules on that. And of course, players are taking turns. In a 2-player game, when there's only 2 tiles left in a square here, you'll remove the 2 remaining ones. But otherwise, if you're playing with more players, you'll just finish out until all 7 of these spaces are cleared of buildings. At that point, you're going to move on to the forum phase. And in the forum phase, you're placing your little tokens here, your circular markers, and you're going to either spend resources, or you're going to have built things like the farmland and the pond or the wineries to try to get points. So you're gonna lose points if you put your marker down and you don't have that stuff. But you do have 7 goes around to try to build these things on your map. So if I had achieved that, if I had a chicken and I had also 3 chimneys, which are these little marks on the buildings. If I had 3 chimneys and I had a chicken to give up, I could put my token right there in the forum phase. And I should mention, just to reiterate, whoever has their token at the top further down the prestige track is going to have first dibs. And that's kind of important, because you might beat someone to what they really wanted to get. But anyway, if I put my thing here, if I had a chicken, I would pay that chicken. And if I had the 3 chimneys, I would get 1 victory point, which is given out by these little cards here. You'll see that they have different denominations on them. And I would get a coin and then further myself down the prestige track if I satisfied those prerequisites. And you could choose any intersection. So you can choose these 2 here, these 2 here, whatever you have achieved. And players would take turns doing that, but you only get to put down 1 marker during the forum phase, and then we start the building phase again. And there's going to be 3 rounds of building phase using these little white background tiles that have the white background. And then on your 4th and final phase, just before you're going to make after the 3 are done, you'll bring out the black backed tiles. You'll see that there's a difference. They have a black backing. And these have end buildings, so they kind of are a way for you to finish up a bit, so you won't get stuck with buildings that are incomplete. You have a better chance of completing buildings. And then you proceed to your final forum phase in the 4th and final round, and you then count up your victory points, and that's all marked on this reference sheet here. So you count up all your resources, including bread and coins and every type of resource that you've achieved, and you divide it by 2. You look at your position on the prestige track. You would look at the completed buildings that you have done, and you look at the fountain cards that you have and what that scoring was. As I mentioned before, I showed you those. And then the chimneys. So however many chimneys you have for each individual complete building, you will then score those victory points and add them up. And then at the end of the game, you will count up your... and sorry, what I meant by this was actually your frame achievements, not your completed buildings. Your frame achievements there. And then you'll just count up all your cards here because you'll just start getting more and more of them. And then whoever has the most victory points wins the game. And that's how you play Carpe Diem.
Hey everyone, welcome back for our review of Carpe Diem, another Stefan Feld game. This is our 5th Stefan Feld game. Mm-hmm. It's not his newest, but it is one of the newer ones, especially since this is the new edition. He also had Bonfire, just came out, and Castles of Tuscany, which when I heard about Castles of Tuscany, I love Castles of Burgundy, and I love the Tuscany expansion for viticulture. I was hoping there's going to be a combo. It turns out it's a lighter version of Castles of Burgundy that some people feel isn't that as good, but I've heard other people say that's really awesome. I haven't tried it myself, or Bonfire, but I'm interested in Bonfire. So Carpe Diem is the one we checked out this time. We've played it in the past. We first played it on the Dice Tower Cruise, and that was the first edition of the game that was in the Dice Tower library. So they upgraded some of the pieces here. It's a little more, I feel like it pops a little better as far as the buildings. I can tell them apart easier. It doesn't have that weird lines across the table on the board, across the board, I should say.
Yeah, for the patrician movement.
Yes, and now it's just adjacency. So now you just move adjacent, and it's a little simpler, I guess, in that fashion. You can either way; it didn't matter to me. So it's just a different way of doing that. The game, it reminds me of Castles of Burgundy in a lot of ways. You get the tiles that trigger off, like the building tiles in Castles of Burgundy, are exactly like this. You get the buildings here and they trigger off certain things. So this one will give you coin. This one will give you a fish. This one will do all that.
Check it.
So just the same like Castle of Burgundy. It gives you that same feeling as when you place one of the building tiles. You know what I'm talking about. If you played the game, the brown tiles, they'll give you the same feeling as you do in this game, which I really like in Castles of Burgundy. I really like going for the buildings. They all give you different things, and that's just so nice. You even have the same concept as, I think, the Carpenter building, where you can put out the Carpenter building and it will give you an additional building. Well, this one has the black tiles. So if you put out these like teal buildings, I forget what they're called right now.
Yeah, the gray ones.
The teal ones right here. These right here.
Yeah, right they are. Yeah, the green.
Those, when you connect those, that gives you the same feeling as the Carpenter buildings in Castle Burgundy. So right away I'm having deja vu of playing that game. There's a lot of that there, except you're trying to fill out these rows on your grid that intersect, as opposed to in an entire estate that they all connect to in Castles of Burgundy. When you close off your estate, you get more victory points. Well, here it's when you intersect different like lines, so it's more spatial, and it's really cool. Would I put it past Castle of Burgundy? Spoiler, no, because I love Castle of Burgundy. It's my favorite Feld game. So we've done 5, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this is middle of the road for me, and middle of the road for Stefan Feld is very good. It's an 8.6, so that puts it right below Trajan for me. Right below, because I think I gave 8.8 to Trajan. So 8.6, very, very good score for a simple game. This game is pretty simple to play, and it works so well. It has that thinkiness. Even though it's a simple game, you're still stuck there thinking, if I move here, what do I have to access to next time? Can I close this? Are they going to be able to take it before me? Mm-hmm. It's a really good game.
Yeah. Exactly, Nick. We went through it so fast when we were playing it. The turns are really fast. You have goals, like you're looking at the forum phase. You're looking at the stuff that you want to accomplish. So you kind of have direction about where you want to go. The fountain cards add additional like motivation to achieve certain things or get certain buildings, more of them. The frames are another guide. So you're really never lost. You're never really left with like, oh, I'll just do this, I guess. I have to. There's always a place to put something, which is really great. The placement rules are, such that you can't put things in with buildings that don't match, but the grass is very forgiving. You can add stuff on top. We had a bit of a prestige battle the last time we played, where this is going to get me another prestige scroll. I need to beat this guy. I need first dibs in this forum. I need that. We were having little battles about pieces. I'd look over, he's working on a red building, I'm going to try to get a villa done before he does, and stuff like that. So you see the pieces that are out there. In a 2-player game, they're going away, so you can't leave 2 in a blueprint area because they're gone. So a lot of thinking. Really enjoy that. I like the art. It's fair. It's fine. We were waiting a long time to get this because we wanted to wait for the new edition to come out, having heard rumors, and as soon as we found out that it was coming, boom. we placed an order so we can get this in our collection because we just had so much fun playing it. And I don't even remember how we discovered it in the Dice Tower Cruise. Did you know about the game?
It was on my list to play.
Okay. He had a list. I came unprepared for the cruise. I just kind of was like a piece of paper in the wind, whatever way I would go. But anyway, next cruise, I'm bringing a list. Yeah. So my score is the same as Nick's.
Awesome.
8.6. I gave this game. I enjoyed it a lot. Had fun. I won the last time we played, so that was exciting for me. Anytime I can pull out a W, I'm pretty excited. And I like the movement of and I like that you can spend bread to go to a place that you want to go. And when the tiles are empty, that's another thing to think about because you're gonna go. You can skip past the empty spots to get to where you want to go in on the building phase. So that's fun. And altogether, I mean, just a fun game, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, the design looks so good. We've only played that too, and I can already tell like this is gonna scale really well. So if you have a 3-player game, instead of 2 tiles, it's 3 tiles. That when the 3 tiles are gone, then you refresh, and in a 4-player game, you use them all. Yeah. It's very clever. It feels like it's gonna scale amazingly. There's gonna be more cards out there at the forum with the more players. So I look forward to playing with more players. This is not one that I'm going to shy away from when I have company over.
It's a great game altogether. We can't wait to play it with more players. And we hope that you enjoyed this review. If you did, go ahead, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel for more great content. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.